Alright, we are going to introduce ourselves to a Casio calculator today and start learning how to find numbers, solutions using it. So first of all, when you turn on a brand new Casio, you usually see these boxes right here. That's a menu system. It's like the icons on your phone screen that you can just touch what you need, except for this isn't a touch screen. If you want to do regular calculations, you go here to this first box. You can just press the number 1, or you can use your arrow keys to highlight it and then press the EXE key down here at the bottom. Why don't I widen this back out here so I can see everything at once. There we go. And if you want to graph a line, that's the other thing we're going to do. We go over here to this third box. So we arrow over and we press enter, and we'll see that. Okay. So we're going to graph. We're going to arrow over to that third box, and we're going to either type the number 3 or press enter. I have something in my calculator. If you have something in your calculator, you get rid of it by pressing this delete right here. Of course, it's not a touch screen, so you can't actually press it. You press the number underneath it. Whatever these are saying, if you press the F, the function key underneath it, it will work. So if I want to delete, I can press F2. It does give you a chance to not make a mistake, so it lets you say, no, I really didn't want to. But if you wanted to, you just press F1 and it deletes. Then I'll arrow down and delete out the 10 as well. Okay, so if I want to enter this equation, y equals 2x subtract 4. The y equals is already right here. If it says y equals at the top, then these mean y equals at the side. I can put up to 20 different equations in, but I just want one right now. 2x subtract 4, so I'll press the number 2. Where is the x? Do not use this x. This is for multiplying. Use this x over here. This is the variable key. If you're in different modes, these other symbols show up, but if we're in y equals mode, when we press it, an x shows up. And then regular old subtract 4. Okay, you need to store it into memory by pressing the EXE key down here on the bottom right. Once it moves to the black line moves down to the next row, you know it's stored. So at this point, I can press F6 for draw, and it will draw. 0, 0 is in the center of my screen, and this is not a very big window. It's only going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit past 6. For height, it's going a little bit past 3 and -3. I want to make my screen bigger so I can do more math. And so while I'm staring at the window, if I want to make it bigger, I go here to F3 where it says the word window. Bink. So here are the exact numbers. It was going to 6.3 and then -6.3, 3.1 and -3.1. I would like it to do what we normally do in our worksheets, which is go between -10 and +10 for the x's and -10 to +10 for the y's. And that's what's known as standard, STD. That stands for standard, not a disease. So if I press F3, it changes all of those to what we're used to seeing on our worksheets. I'll press the EXE to make it happen, and I'll press the F6 to draw it again. And now I can see more of the line because I have a bigger window. Yay, we've entered our first equation. So let's do our first solution. If I wanted to find the x for this problem when y equaled 7, we know how to do that by hand. We can put the 7 in, we can add the 4, we can divide by 2, and we'd have it. For a line, it's not hard to do it by hand. But as the equations we learn get more complicated, it becomes harder and harder to do it by hand. And if you're taking your testing situations like your ACT or your MCA, then this would be faster and also more accurate because you can't accidentally lose a negative this way. So if I want to find x when f of x equals 7, what did I say f of x for? Find x if y equals 7. Well, that's another y. I'm going to put that in the exact same place I put this y. This y is in my y1. There's a 1 beside it. Remember, you can put 20 y's in, 20 equations in. I'm going to go back and put this one in the second spot. On the Casio, to go back, just press exit. And it goes back to our list of functions, our list of equations. And in the second row, I'm going to put that 7. And then I'm going to press EXE to store it. And then I'm going to draw it again. And we've studied systems. We know that when two lines cross each other, the solution is where they intersect. And so that's what we're going to look for. We're going to look for the intersection. So I'm going to write some steps down here. You may want to copy these into your notebook. So I'm going to say put equations in y1 and y2. And then I'm going to say find the intersection. And I'm just going to write the word intersection. So how do you figure out what that is besides just guessing? It's looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 5 and 6 maybe. Well, right here on the Casio, F5, that G solve, we're going to solve with our graph, is our friend. F5 is going to get used a lot this year and in future math classes. If you press F5, you can do a lot of different math, which we're going to talk about later, but we want intersection, which is this ISCT, which is above the F5 key. So we'll be pressing F5 another time. This time because it says ISCT. Over here we did it because it said G-solve. And if you only have 2 equations in your calculator, it automatically finds you the intersection. So when y equals 7, x equals 5.5, we've solved it, not by hand, but by using the graph. We've found that. Okay. So what if we now need to solve the equation for x when y equals -3? Well, we do it the exact same way. We can find the intersection of 2x minus 4 and y equals -3. So we want to get rid of this 7. That has nothing to do with this problem. We're looking for a different solution. So we're going to press exit, and we're going to go back to y2. So arrow up. I should lock my focus here, shouldn't I? And I'm going to get rid of that 7 by just typing a -3 over the top of it and pressing EXE again to store it. Now I can press the F6 again to draw it. And there's a different intersection point. This X is going to be between 0 and 1 because that's where the intersection point is. I can find the intersection point by pressing F5 for G-solve and F5 for intersection and waiting. X is 0.5. Okay, you can do that as many times as you need to answer as many problems as you need to. If you are given a y value, you put it in y2 with the equation in y1 and then find intersection. All right. Next, what do you do if they need you to find, plug in an x value? So what if we need to find y when x equals something? Let's say x equals -7. Okay, if I need to find y when x equals something, I'm going to press exit. I am going to delete out the y that I don't need anymore because they've given me an x value. If you have an x value, then the button you're going to look for is trace, F1. We're going to press that, and we're going to type the number we want to find, -7. As soon as you press the negative, that box shows up. I did not do anything to make that box happen except for press F1 and then start typing a number. It is programmed to know that whatever you were typing is what you want to plug in for x. So x is supposed to equal -7. Yep. Press EXE. You get your answer. Y equals -18. Now the fun thing here is, what if I change x values right away? What if I gave you 3 different x values to do back to back to back? What if you were filling out a table for science class? You had an equation and you needed to plug 6 different x's into it. Well, you could put that equation in Y1, you could press F1, and then you can just keep changing the numbers. Once you press trace, if you didn't exit, it will just keep finding numbers for you. So when x equals 3, y equals 2. What if I wanted when x equals 8? Well, just type in 8. It changes values. So you can get a lot of answers really quickly and really accurately using trace. Okay, that's it for now. There'll be future videos with future steps.